Alright, it's time for another video. I keep expecting the picture to change and it never really changes, doesn't it? Never changes. I keep thinking, oh, maybe this weekend things will change, things will look different. And whatever it was that I had said is not going to be relevant or what have you, but it's not changing. The picture's not changing. Every weekend is just reinforcing the picture, so, well, I suppose we got to talk about it now. And we have to talk about Red Bull specifically. What am I going to title this video? I don't want to title it Red Meat. I'm not sure about titling it The Gesture, but we'll probably title it The Gesture, because we will be talking about the gesture as well. Elon Musk's gesture and all that, but yeah. I didn't want to talk about Red Bull, you know. I've tried to record various videos up to this one, and I thought the angle of attack for the season was the Sir Lewis Hamilton story at Ferrari, and it's not it. It's clearly not it anymore, but anyway, that's not it. I thought maybe the value was in whatever's going on at Mclaren, and it's just really interesting. It's just a thing that's happening. And that's, well, why McLaren? Why do McLaren have a free run at the championship? Because of what's going on at Red Bull. So at the end of the day, I have to talk about Red Bull. But I figured that out like on the third attempt at recording a video, I suppose. Anyway, let's get into the video. And we have to talk about Verstappen and the number 2 car. The number 2 car at Red Bull is a fascinating little case study. Truly a fascinating case study. What's going on with Red Bull and the number 2 car? As far as I can see it, they've been given some sort of special ballast steel, if you will. And that's the thing, right? The picture's not changing week to week. There's some weeks where I think, oh, Tsunoda's going to do something in the car. No, it doesn't happen. It's not, you can't even find a points finish, but whatever. The thing's not changing. Verstappen can put it on pole somehow. It's dubious as hell. Anyway, a lot of the season is dubious. I understand there might be some Red Bull fans coming here, or some Verstappen fans, or whatever. Everything's dubious. Everything's haywire. Screwy. So don't worry. It's not only your mandem. It's not only your mandem over there. But look, if I were to quiz the people right now, who has the fastest car in F1? A lot of people would say it's McLaren. It's still Red Bull as far as I can see. Why do I say it's Red Bull? Because their car's being encumbered by the FIA. I say special ballast. I'm calling it a special ballast because not all the ballast is going in one car, and it's not even being divided equally between the cars. It's sort of like an 80-20 splits, if you will. I don't know if people are into cooking, if they're home cooks or what have you. No, heck, maybe they're flipping burgers professionally, who knows. But what's the burger ratio you want? The burger meat ratio you want? 80-20? 80% lean, 20% fat. Why you want the fat? Because that's where the flavor is. Or at least that's what you can hit with the flavor. So when they throw spice on Verstappen's car, because it's got the 20 of the ballast, whatever the special ballast weight is, whether it's 50 kilos or 100 kilos wholesale, being divided between the cars. But when they throw the spice on Verstappen's car, responses this way and that way, various plays on the occult game board, what have you, it sticks. And then he gets to win in Suzuka or what have you. I'm pretty sure there was a deal with Honda that if you put Tsunoda in the car, will throw the spice on the car for Suzuka, and they even painted the car in the white and red. But anyway, so yeah, I still have the Red Bull as the fastest car. It's being encumbered by FOM and friends. This is very obvious. Be it a special ballast deal or something or other to do with the standard ECU, but I think they've passed that now. But anyway, I'm sure someone's going to have a snap of the weights of the weight machine or something. They give a fuck about those numbers. All the numbers that they show up on there is bullshit. It's all bullshit. A lot of bullshit is going on in F1. They can't. You see, why are they encumbering the Red Bull? They're encumbering the Red Bull because the car is still benefiting from the budget cap breach of 2021. We're still back there. We're still back there. A lot of what you're seeing now is because of what happened there and then afterwards and all the way to here. And F1 have bit the bullet and said, well, look, we gotta slow this car down. Otherwise Zach Brown or someone else is gonna start talking like these man them on the internet about this budget cap breach. So they've slowed it down. And here we are. Now you get to watch the Red Bull and the number 2 car got the 80. So whoever they put in the number 2 cars, no, it's not gonna look. They're just not gonna look good, guys. I'm sorry, they're just not gonna look good. Tsunoda's doing some things where I'm like, oh my goodness, is he really gonna find a result this weekend? And then it doesn't quite happen at the end of the day. Regardless of what the number 1 car is doing, and even that, right? Verstappen's going to win some Grand Prix this season, but he's not making a title defense. He's been ushered out, not really ushered out, but he's been cast as the villain. He has been cast as the villain for this season. I can't necessarily explain the Saudi incident. I don't know why he got 5 seconds and Lawson got 10, when Lawson made a sincere attempt to make the corner, but anyway. It's funny because Brundle was talking dark arts on the fucking airwaves, and they didn't show us the telemetry either. They never show us Verstappen's telemetry. So, but yeah, I can't explain the Saudi incident, but there'll still be Grand Prix where Verstappen wins. I give him 3, maybe 4 wins. It won't be the number 2 car. It will never be. If it is the number 2 car, then I don't know, that race Verstappen will have like the worst race of his career or something. Why is that? Because they switched. They would have had to switch the weights. And there's probably some rule they've been given, like you can't put all the weights into one car. No less than 20% of the weight in one car, or something like that. So this is what you get. If that Red Bull were unencumbered both cars, they'd still be blitzing the championship as far as I'm concerned. But hey, this season, you know, here and there, be it Honda or Ford or, I don't know, some Dutch parties, someone of interest will probably throw spice on the number 1 car and, oh my gosh, Verstappen's right back in the mixer, look at that. That's gonna be the whole season, lads. Tsunoda maybe grabbing a 9th or 8th place finish here and there or something. That's probably going to be the whole season at Red Bull. I mean, look, F1 and friends, they lost patience with Maximilian in Abu Dhabi of 2024. We're talking now. No longer 2021. But they lost patience in 2024. What's the detail? It's that all the audio that gets played on the global feed is curated. Even if you buy the package, all the audio that you do get to hear is curated too. But anyway, they played the audio of Maximilian cussing out the stewards in Abu Dhabi. So they say, okay, alright, we're gonna play the audio. So when things ain't going your way next season, you know, when we bust down the special ballast on your car, when things ain't going your way next season, yeah, don't be asking us about it. Now here, of course, some sponsors still have to be satisfied, so there'll be some wins this way and that way, but it's not a title defense, lads. It's not a title defense. Maximilian's not challenging. He's essentially, I don't even think he's playing a kingmaker. He's more like just a joker and he's more just a joker in the pack for the McLaren battle, like we're about to see take place this season. But anyway. Alright, so we must talk about McLaren, because McLaren are obviously poised to take both championships. I've said Red Bull have the fastest car, so what does that mean for McLaren? That means their car is faster than everyone else. That's all it means, really. They've been trying to catch an illegal car, and they've been doing it legally, and they found some things. And now people will say, what do you mean they've been doing it legally? What about the mini DRS and all that? Brother, the mini DRS was not illegal. They've outlawed it now, although whatever's wrote doesn't really outlaw it. It's just like a gentleman's agreement that, okay, we shall not do that. But I mean, it was otherwise something quite genius, but that aside, that's not what was making the McLaren fast. That's not... A lot of what's going on above the cars is not of import anymore. That's the thing, at this point in the regulations, and in particular, whatever's going on above the car is not of import. Everyone's sort of converged on the same thing. It's all the detail underneath the cars that matters now, but you don't get to see that all too often. Something very specific has to happen. Someone got a crash at Monaco somewhere, then you might get to see what's going on underneath the car, but otherwise you're not going to get to see what's going on. You're just not. And whatever's going on above, that don't matter no more. I mean, sincerely. I'm sure they're loving the tech pieces that they can make this way and that way. It doesn't matter at this point. That's not the detail. So they take away the mini DRS, and McLaren is still blitzing everybody. Okay. That's not what was making the car fast. I still say they only have the second fastest car because the Red Bull is being encumbered, but anyway, this is where we are. This is where we are now with the F1. But yeah, McLaren otherwise poised to take both championships. I would be shocked if they were to lose either the Drivers' Championship or the Constructors' Championship to another team. I mean, like if that were to happen, I mean, someone's losing their job. A lot of people are losing their jobs, actually, if that were to happen. With the cards they've been handed this season, there's no way. There's no way. The only detail that I can't really divine this season is who's going to win between Norris and Piastri. Some people might say it's very obvious that it's going to be Piastri, and yeah, from an ability standpoint, yes, Piastri has more ability behind the wheel than Norris, but this F1 thing is not only decided on ability. Various parties and interested persons will have their own interest around Norris being crowned champion. I mean, if it's a white Brit champion, they're all about that. They're all about that. They're all on board. Bernie will even tip in some peas for that. I promise you that. I promise you that. Bernie will even tip in some peas for that. So there's interests around Norris being crowned champion. Never mind Zach Brown saying he wants Norris to be world champion specifically. So I don't know. Is there some sponsor? Is there some sponsors attached to Norris that are telling Zach Brown, like, hey, listen, you get Norris a championship? Allegedly, it's all alleged. The whole video is alleged, by the way. But the whole video is alleged, by the way. But let me just get that out there. But yeah, listen, you get Norris a championship. Look, there's extra P's coming in. There might be an extra zero in your bank account if you get Norris a championship. So, Zach Brown's on record as saying he wants Norris to get the championship. You would think he'd just say, hey, look, whoever gets the championship gets the championship. I have a driver's championship. Who cares who wins it? Right? Surely, who cares who wins it? You have a driver's champion at that point. But that's not what Zach Brown says. Zach Brown said he wants Norris to win it specifically, so I have to note that, and I'm sure things will not be so simple for Piastri this season that he's just gonna get to. It's gonna be all about the driving. as well. I'm sure things will not be that simple. I'm sure there will be various maladies that affect Piastri season this way and that way, but, well, it's F1. That's the game at the end of the day. That's the game. But I mean, they're gonna have to make it real obvious. I tell you what. A goofed pit stop here and there, like, come on, man. That would be too obvious. I don't think Mercedes would sign on all that. Who knows? Maybe it's part of the deal that you get to press the big red button on a few Merc engines through a season. But I mean, who knows? There'll be various melodies that affect Piastri, I'm sure. That I have no doubts about. Because there's too many interests around Norris getting this championship. But if we're talking just straight ability, you've seen enough this season. You've surely seen enough. You don't need to see no more. You all know Piastri is far and away better than Norris. Far and away. I don't think Norris is going to catch. People will say, oh, but Norris was catching him at the end of the Miami Grand Prix or something. Brother, if Piastri wanted to open the taps, he would open the taps. It's very obvious. But hey, we'll see what happens this season. It may very well just be the case that Piastri gets a clean run to the championship and there is no hijinks going on in McLaren. Who knows? Who knows? I certainly don't. That's why I can't call this. I can't call this one just yet. I'm expecting various melodies. I don't even think if they were to throw various woes at Piastri that they would actually scupper his drive to the championship. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in that regard. But all the people telling you that they know why the McLaren is fast and all that, forget about it. Forget about it. They don't know. Nobody knows. McLaren know, of course, but nobody else knows. None of the teams even know. They're all compartmentalized against each other, right? So no one knows what's making the McLaren fast. And McLaren is just very fast. It's legal. Unless, who knows, they breached cap or something, but no one's breached cap yet, so I don't think anyone will. I'm a bit disappointed that no one breached cap, but seeing how Red Bull are now being handled and a bit more understanding, but anyway. It took a while. The history didn't get rewrote though. I'm sure if Red Bull did not agree to whatever deal they were handed by the FIA, FOM and friends when they were given their special ballast deal, I'm sure if they didn't agree to that, the history was going to be scrapped. Charlie Leclerc would retroactively be champion and all that. Anyway, at least whoever is going to be champion this season, I'm sure it's all legit, it's all above board. Maximilian, he won't even get to play as a spoiler. Well, he'll get to spoil someone's party, I'm sure, but it's a new party at the end of the season anyway, so it don't matter. I'm not sure what to title this segment. I have got a bit of a mean streak, so I want to title it "The Car Feels Like a Winner" or something to that effect. Look, I understand that the car can feel like a winner, and I'm referring to Sir Lewis Hamilton's commentary in off-season. I'm still referring to stuff in off-season. But yeah, he said the car felt like a winner, and I said, well, I thought to myself, that's a bit dubious. I understand it can feel like the best F1 car you've ever driven, even compared to the best that Mercedes have produced. Well, all the cars would probably feel good. Brundle has made this observation every season, like all the cars look amazing to drive. Brundle has driven horrendous F1 cars in his time as well. He looks at these cars, he's like, yo, these are all the most well-behaved F1 cars he's ever seen in his life. Not to say like some drivers don't get it sideways or something, but like, you look at the wheel isn't fighting the drivers. Look at some of the bad cars back in the day, like particularly the Minardi or something like that. Rather, the car is fighting the driver. So, so like you just don't see that with the cars anymore. All the cars are great. They're separated now by efficiency, isn't it? That's what they're saying. They're all separated by efficiency. It's all about how the package comes together, but all the packages are really great packages. It really is 99% of engineering going on in F1, at least in the sporting context. Not talking about anything that's going on in a military sense or aeronautic sense or what have you. It's just racing, isn't it? Well, it's really like the 99th percentile of cars is the best cars on the planet. So they're all gonna feel like a winner. Don't have like a strong reference, I suppose, but well, it probably felt better than last year's Mercedes, isn't it? But it's all, no doubt, all the cars would feel better than last year's Mercedes. So they can all, the car can feel like a winner, and it's just not faster than the McLaren. That's how it works. Frankly, I don't even think this Ferrari is faster than the Red Bull, particularly Maximilian's Red Bull with this fat ratio going on in the car. I don't think it's faster than that car. I don't think it's faster than the Mercedes this year, at least not consistently around a number of circuits. At some point in the season, who knows? Aston Martin might be faster than Ferrari if Ferrari don't find something, but hey, it is what it is with Ferrari. Here's the thing, I never expected this to be the season that it comes together for Ferrari. I don't know what people were actually expecting going into this season. I genuinely don't. I understand the Ferrari looked good towards the end of last season and all of that, but that's not, that's not the car that's going into this season. Everything's moving forward. Everyone's going to, but there were no guarantees that McLaren were going to have the fastest car coming into this season, even though all developments at the end of last season pointed towards it. Right, there was no guarantee of that. It was just likely to happen, but it was not a guarantee. It would have been nice for Ferrari to maintain momentum from last season, but that's not how it goes. But it doesn't really matter with Ferrari. You see, they could engineer a whole season, it wouldn't really matter. The Chinese sprint race, right? You see this? They can open the taps on the car through whatever means, right? It's all allegedly. They can open the taps on any of these cars. Whoever they want to be the winner can be the winner. I'm sure whoever was in attendance at Ferrari, with John Altman or someone else in China, on that Friday, they were looking around the stands. They said, "Hey brother, there's a lot of red here. There's an awful lot of red in these stands. We might have to do something about this." And then they threw some spies in the car, and all of a sudden, Sir Lewis Hamilton was winning the sprint race. Oh my God, is he back? What's going on? This is how it is, man. This is how it is. Does it matter if Sir Lewis Hamilton has fallen off? I don't even think it's relevant. Because that's not how F1 works. If someone wants the car to win, the car's gonna win. There's some VIPs out here with an awful lot of money, more money than sense, I tell you what. But if they want the car to win, it's gonna win. So that's the Chinese sprint race incident. I mean, people can bite narratives this way, that way. It's not really relevant. What does this mean for Leclerc this season? I don't know. Leclerc, he's already had Ferrari engineer things, various interested parties, or Ferrari themselves engineer things for him in prior seasons, with his win in Monaco, for instance. Like, things have been engineered for Leclerc before. So I say nothing new. If someone wants the car to win, the car will probably win. But this was never going to be the season where Ferrari are gonna challenge for a championship or what have you. It just wasn't gonna, even with their trajectory coming off of last year, it just wasn't gonna be it. There are too many questions to answer around the car, and well, here we are now. I always had 2026 pegged as, this is when the Ferrari thing could reach a boiling point or something. Otherwise, I just had this season as like a season for teething problems and all of that. And that's really all that's going to happen. There'll be some wins here and there, just like with Red Bull. Everyone will get their wins. It could be in a sprint, it could be on a Sunday, or what have you. There's a lot of Grand Prix to play with, I suppose. So like everyone will get their time to shine and get their red meats and all of that for the fans. So it is what it is. But otherwise, the only thing I'm expecting from Ferrari this season are teething problems. It is a problem that there is no English first language speaker on the pit wall, or talking with Sir Lewis Hamilton specifically. That is a problem. Or vice versa, one could say it is a problem that Sir Lewis Hamilton is not going to be able to learn Italian in a hurry. Charlie Leclerc is not expected to speak Italian on the radio, so I don't think that necessarily matters. It just matters that Sir Lewis Hamilton being English, he might, first language English speaker, you might get a little flowery with the language. Nigga don't know what's going on the other. What? What you saying? Was that sarcasm? Like, shit. Oh man, but I mean, it's even difficult with Leclerc and the language issue at Ferrari. He was talking about it was raining. The seat was wet in Australia, and is it the drinks bottle or someone else? And he was on the Ferrari radio, was saying it's not the water, it must be the water. It's lost in translation there. It's not the drinks bottle water, so it must be the rain water, but language, innit? And the language has to be executed with haste, and well, it's just gonna be a problem for Ferrari this season. This is gonna be the season where it's gonna be a talking point around Ferrari. I don't know when people are gonna start talking about it, but I'll start talking about it eventually. That there are language barrier issues at Ferrari, but it is what it is. I mean, Sir Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari was momentous, right? He rocks up in the mafioso suits and all of that. That was a great sense of the occasion and all of that, but it was never going to bang this season. This was never the season for it to bang, so I'm not sure what people were anticipating. I don't know if people were sold false hype. One way or the other. I understand Sir Lewis Hamilton can say a thing, but it's just the driver saying a thing, mate. Like, that's just you should never take that seriously. It's all about what happens in testing and then what happens in the first race. Funny enough, it did rain in Australia, and Australia was selected, Melbourne was selected as the first race destination. Why is that? Because, well, I suppose the showmakers wanted to hide some details going into the season, but well, they couldn't hide that Mclaren. Tell you what, they couldn't hide that McLaren, but well, everything else that happened around the McLaren, oh, what's this? Is this going to happen for the rest of the season? Is this how it's going to be, or is Australia throwing up the anomaly once again? And well, it looked like Australia threw up an anomaly, and that Ferrari's a lot slower than it looked in Australia. But anyway, that was expected. If you've been paying attention, at least. So, someone was surely sold false hype or something. Surely, because there's a lot of anticipation around, Sir Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari, it must bang immediately. Like, it's not going to happen. I understand Sir Lewis Hamilton's on a timer. I know people think he's going to fall off or something, but I don't even think Alonso has fallen off, so, I mean, short. You're short on time still with Sir Lewis Hamilton. A long time till he falls off. But anyway, I suppose I should talk about Mercedes. There's not much to note about Mercedes. There was a chance Mercedes did produce a winning car this season, but it hasn't happened. They've not been able to catch that McLaren. But their car still looks good. I have their cars the next best after, well, the Red Bull and the McLaren. I have their cars the next best. Some people might argue Russell is underperforming the car in some Grand Prix or whatever, but he's doing a good job as far as I'm concerned. As far as I can see, he's doing a pretty good job. I don't see a world where Mercedes get rid of him unless they're actually getting Maximilian into the car. So I just don't see a world where Mercedes get rid of Russell. And he's performing well this season. He's actually performing well. People might say, oh, but Antonelli has stuck it on pole for the sprint or what have you. Like, it's the sprints. Again, these sprint things are funny. But yeah, Antonelli, he stuck it on pole. A great job. Antonelli is a talent as well, but like, the race is a different thing. Antonelli still has to develop consistency. He's got pace for sure, but he's like, you know, when he gets it wrong, then he gets it wrong. In the next lap, like, he doesn't know how to correct quickly after making an error, but he's very fast otherwise. Very fast. And when he is tasked with overtaking, he makes it look very easy somehow. But I mean, otherwise Russell's doing a good job. Mercedes, they will probably, well, I'm not entirely sure how good. No, they should finish second in the Constructors' Championship this season. I'd be very impressed if Red Bull were to finish second in the Constructors ahead of them. I'd be seriously monumentally impressed. Because it must mean Maximilian has put together one humdinger of a season and Tsunoda has probably grabbed some podiums or what have you. That's probably what it would mean. But at present, that Mercedes is not consistently faster than Maximilian's number one car. It's not consistently faster, but they've got two cars. Like Red Bull have 1.5 car. And on that, I forgot to mention Liam Lawson's time at Red Bull. Right, you see, Old Spice, he got ambitious, and he said, let's put Lawson in. He knows that the special ballasting is about to be put on the car. He said, let's put Lawson in, let's see what happens. He put Lawson in the car. Lawson couldn't drive with the special ballast on the car, and he said, okay, shit. Alright, put Tsunoda in the thing. Put Tsunoda in the thing. Have Honda apply some spice, and I'll see if I can find more spice throughout the season. Because Lawson, he could not hang with that special ballast at all. At all. But I digress. And I digress on Mercedes. Not much to note on Mercedes. You see, Mercedes aren't really a topic anymore because Sir Lewis Hamilton ain't at Mercedes no more. That's just how it is. So Lewis Hamilton wears some Pumas and all of a sudden everybody's buying Pumas. It's crazy, right? But anyway. Alright, let's talk about Alonso and Aston Martin in general. Do I think Alonso has fallen off? Somewhat, but I can't really commit to saying he's fallen. I can't really commit to that just yet. But it does look like, sometimes it does look a bit suspect. But anyway. Anyway, this was never the season anything was going to happen at Aston Martin. And Stan Newey has moved over there and people are like, oh, where the fireworks at? That should be for next season. It's the same story like at Ferrari and Sir Lewis Hamilton. The fireworks should be for the 2026 season, but oh, that's a big if. Maybe. All that. And it is not entirely... And there's no guarantees that anything really comes to fruition at the end of the day. There are just no guarantees with any of this stuff. But, well, can I say Alonso has fallen off? No. No, not particularly. Not yet, let me say. Not yet. I'm pretty sure the end of season driver standings will have Alonso well ahead of Stroll, but, well, even if not, I just don't think he's fallen off. I think next season we'll see if he's fallen off, or perhaps he's just not going to jive with the new cars or something. I don't really think drivers fall off, but I think they can lose bravery. I don't really think the skills go away particularly, but anyway, that's a whole different discussion, isn't it? A note on Williams. I was expecting a bit more from Williams, honestly. I was expecting him to have challenged for a podium by now. I do expect him to challenge for a podium at some other circuit or circuits. I'm not particularly sure which one or ones. I would imagine Monza might be interesting, but other things, perhaps other things have to happen at Monza first before there's a Williams podium. But anyway, that's just my note on Williams. I'm a bit underwhelmed by how they've performed. Genuinely, people might say, "Oh, that's surprising. What were you expecting?" I was just expecting more, quite frankly. I was just expecting more. The rumblings from pre-season testing gave me higher expectations than what their results have produced. But maybe that's the same messaging in-house. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see on that. I have to make a note on the wet tyre. Can we just retire the wet tyre? I don't know what... Teams don't even use the wet tyre on reconnaissance. On reconnaissance laps. When it's raining. Like, what? That's why Charlie Leclerc crashed. He crashed the Ferrari. Oh my days. Funny things happen at Miami, innit? But he crashed the Ferrari. Crashed the Ferrari and this outlap. See the grid, he just aquaplaned right off the track. And I'm thinking to myself, that shouldn't even... Should you not have just played it as safe as possible and put the car on wet tyres? But they're not even doing it there. Like, you see, either... I don't know, man. Either the FIA or the stewards got to step in and mandate when the wet tyre is going to be used, or whenever the wet tyre gets put on, the racing stops. I don't know how this is supposed to work. But there was no racing going on when Charlie crashed, didn't it? Teams don't even use it as a safety blanket on recon laps or whatever, man. Whatever. F1 does really stupid things. I'm sure you could save a lot of money and some fucking rubber, some tar being burned to make these tires. I'm sure you could save a lot of that by just not having the wet tire. But anyway, F1's gonna F1 at the end of the day. Okay, I gotta talk some Trump and Elon general. Not entirely sure I should talk about this. I was thinking of axing this topic at the last, but I suppose we'll go with it. So some various things have happened with Trump and Elon. There's only been one thing of particular note or interest, and that is the gesture. The title of the video is the gesture that Elon did. When was Trump inaugurated on that night? Whatever. When Elon did the gesture, I'll have the clip. And they called it the gesture on the news. That's fascinating. That was wildly fascinating to me. I don't know. People just gonna brush by the news, having to call it the gesture, the news. Notable events, weather and sports, the news. I'm gonna say that's not what it stands for, but whatever. Whatever, as you were, bro. As you were, Associated Press. So, the gesture, what actually happened there? Because the internet went ablaze for a second, and I thought, well, I still think the shit people were saying it's not congruent with how they're acting in post. But that aside, people said that it was a Nazi salute. So if Elon's done the Nazi salute, then what that means there's Nazi in office. I don't see the left-leaning politicians say, I don't see the right-leaning ones that are anti-Nazi saying, oh, there's a Nazi in office and they're rhinos or what have you. I don't see any of this happening. So the gesture was something else. No, it was not a Nazi salute. I see some other men say it was an ancient Roman salute. I'm not sure what else. Ancient Roman salutes, I should say, in full. Let me not be lazy with my language. I stopped being interested in hearing what people thought it was this way or that way after I saw the ancient Roman salute shot. I said, okay, people don't actually know what they've seen here. So I decided to just move on. I'm not sure if someone somewhere already happened upon it, but that thing, the thing Elon did, the gesture that your news media had to call it, a liberal news media had to call it, that was a Masonic dugong. And like, okay, so Elon's a Mason. He got to do that. And I think definitely now Elon's on the spectrum because he got a little goofy with his execution. But okay, he did the Masonic dugong. He did it twice. And you're not gonna find Masonic dugong wrote somewhere. This is not a monoconuto that you can find wrote somewhere. There's a lot of these monoconutos that are not wrote anywhere. You must come upon the knowledge through other means. So when he does the gesture and all the news media can't tell you what it is, and everyone on the internet is saying it's a Nazi salute and ancient Roman salute and sundry, you know what that signals to the elites, the super elites and all of that. And yeah, it does mean Trump is compromises, just whatever. Just whatever at this point. Because it doesn't matter who you vote in, everyone gets fucking compromised by the apparatus. That's just what it seems at this point. And they have to play their fucking part at that point. So it is what it is. What this means, the gesture, is it's the open communications I've spoken about before. This time it's not in like an advertisement or something. And they still do that in various places. But okay. It's the open communications that the elites do. This is one that they have to do out in the open. Sometimes they're thrown out in gang signs or what have you. It's the same deal. It's the same deal. And what this is signaled is that, hey, look, guys, I know y'all don't like Trump, but one, I'm on your side. I'm a Mason like you. I'm in the craft. He's announced himself as a Mason to those who have the knowledge. So, play real ball with me. Stop doing the whole pantomime thing with the Trump. Playing real ball here. Try some radical new things. And the assessment must be sincere. And so they tried some things this way and that way, and various things happened. Affirmative action got revoked, and the affirmative action wasn't working as intended anyway, so that doesn't really matter. It's a good thing, I suppose, because now if in 4 or 5 years time no one of color can get a job, can earn money in America because no one got a hire, then okay, now you got data. Now you can say, hey, look, these niggas needed the legislation, they're racist as fuck, they won't even pay a nigga. So, it's a good thing. I suppose the response to this would be like, more people start hiring black people, they don't want to look like they're racist for forgetting to hire black people or something. I don't know. Whatever happens, happens. The whole reason that we got here, and even Trump getting elected, was because affirmative action wasn't working, the Asians took it over. And so, DEI, someone came up with DEI. And everyone said, no way, I won't go. And so, they voted in Trump. Here we are. Supposedly they voted in Trump. Whoever gets voted in is selected. That shit don't matter at this point. Well, while there was the affirmative action ban, people didn't respond as strongly to it as I thought they would. So that was interesting. Gives me more credence that they know it's just part of the grand plan. We'll see what happens at this point. Then there's the tariff wars. Now, the tariff wars came with a strong response because, well, I'm sure the international response was not expected from America, with everyone starting to sell their US Treasury bonds. If they were serious about it, they would have held station. You see, if Trump and crew were serious about the tariff wars, they would have held station on everyone and said, yeah, look, you can sell them treasury bonds, it's gonna be your loss. But they weren't serious about it. They backed down, what is it, within 24 hours, within 48 hours? Look at his split. The billionaires called up, said, we're losing the funny money. Fix this shit. So they had to fix it. And they really were losing the funny money. But you see, it's funny. The tariff wars is one way to actually execute the whole bringing manufacturing back to America. It was very heavy-handed, and people can respond, and other countries can respond in a very heavy-handed fashion. And they've maintained the tariff wars with China in particular. It is a bad way to go about it, but there is no real way to go about it that the American people would otherwise find palatable. They won't even find the tariff wars palatable. Although that is one big difference between the East and the West. The East will stomach the tariff wars. They seen worse. They seen worse shit. They'll stomach the tariff wars. They're ready for that. The West not ready. People are panicking because the cargo ships ain't coming. What? Where the cargo ships from China? They're not coming in. Nah, nigga. And the tariff war is going on. Now you gotta make your own shit. And I don't mind America. It's actually to the benefit of everyone if America were to return to a manufacturing base. But, well, is that actually gonna happen? No, probably not. There has to be too many incentives for that to actually happen. And the tariff war is not an incentive enough. Niggas just won't trade with America. And the American people ain't ready to mine their own shit. For instance. Well, they'll mine it. But it'll be like immigrants coming in to mine. But anyway. So the tariff wars was a flop. I mean, Trump should never have started no tariff wars. But the tariff wars is the absolute flop. You shouldn't have. If you weren't gonna stick with it, you shouldn't have even initiated it. So in that regard, it's an absolute flop. Doesn't matter that he's still sticking with it by China. That don't really matter. But it's funny, man. This thing was gonna hurt the billionaires for real. Y'all want to take money away from the... You see, this is why I don't take the people seriously when they say they want to take the billionaires' money away and all that. Because this was going to really take money away from the billionaires. It was going to hurt, but I mean, people can build their own industry. And then, give it 2 years, 3 years, you're stronger than you were before as a nation. Well, they don't have the stomach for that, really. Really, it was really gonna take money away from the billionaires. That's why they call up Trump. That's why they called up Trump and they said, hey yo, stop the tariff wars. We're losing money. It's all about the money. We're losing the money, nigga. Stop the tariff wars. And that's how you stop the tariff wars. It is what it is. Am I concerned about Trump versus SA? No, not particularly. No, I actually invited. I actually invite that shit. There's just too many of these corrupt politicians in SA. If Trump's gonna weed out some of them, then by all means go ahead. I really don't give a shit. It's not of import to America at the end of the day. So, whatever Trump does here or does not do here. And, I suppose I should talk about Trump offering asylum to Afrikaners or what have you. Like, brother, them Afrikaners are not gonna. Dude, them Afrikaners. Not, they might leave for just like some change, some cash. They might leave for 5 years or something, earn some dollars, earn some pounds or whatever, and then they'll go right back to SA. They're not gonna leave SA. You mad, fam? You mad? They're not gonna leave SA. That's not even a thing. You see, when Trump did the whole, he's offering asylum to people because of the land situation over here. I don't even want to get into this land situation, goodness me. But when he's offering the asylum, it's not even news to me. It's like white noise. It truly is like white noise, because they're not gonna leave. They love this land. They have no intentions of going nowhere. They'll catch a few here and there, but the majority of them niggas ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere, fam. They came to SA. Their ancestors came to SA and they said, bruh, we staying here. We ain't sailing back up there to the Netherlands. Fuck that. We staying here. And so they stayed, and then they become Burmans, and there's all the history and all that. It is what it is. But they stayed for a reason. They love it here. So, keep it, can keep it moving on that. Is Musk a white supremacist? I should probably get ahead of this question. No, Musk is not a white supremacist. A lot of people are paying an awful lot of attention to Elon Musk. Like, he gets so many. I don't know if Elon Musk is still live streaming. He probably is. The last time I seen an Elon Musk live stream, and I was only on it for 2 minutes, I suppose. The last time I seen an Elon Musk live stream, the view count was at like 6 million or something. I say, what? 6 million people watching this motherfucker. What's so interesting about Elon? I don't get it. There's people watching Elon's every move. So like, it baffles me that people can come to the conclusion he's a white supremacist. Meanwhile, he's supposedly on record as saying that he'd rather hire an Indian or Asian programmer than a white programmer, because the Indian Asian programmer will come with more skills than the quote-unquote white programmer, and he won't demand, or she won't demand, as much pay. So I don't understand how he can be a white supremacist and hold that position. I don't get it. I don't understand how he can have people of color on his SpaceX promotions and all of that, and his SpaceX infomercials and shit, and still be a white supremacist. That's not congruent. That don't make sense. But a lot of things about the way people commentate on the politics just don't make sense. And then when you try to break down all the madness, all the jarring madness that's going on, you yourself get jarred, because it's just so confusing this way and that way. So I don't understand, quite frankly, what people are seeing. I see what I see, and I just see a Freemason playing a role. At least with Elon. Trump, I'm not particularly sure which secret society Trump is. Probably Skull and Bones, to be frank with you. But don't quote me on that. But well, so is everybody else, so it don't really matter. He's just one of them. They not like us? The Kendrick anthem, they're not like us? That's a serious thing. They're not like us. And whichever side he plays Kendrick on, I don't know, he's not like us. He's not like us. He's telling you that you're not like them. But anyway, this is all the seedy shit that goes on in Hollywood. I suppose I'll cover some Shakespeare history later on. But yeah, well, just a note on that Kendrick versus Drake thing. When Kendrick beat up Drake and the Ghost Riders with the bars, that was a handing over of the cultural torch. Now Kendrick is in charge of the culture. Whatever Kendrick's gonna do with the culture is whatever Kendrick's gonna do with the culture, but because now Kendrick who's in charge of the culture. It was Drake who was the king of the culture before. Now he's not. I don't know what Drake's up to now, to be frank with you. Career might be over. the way Kendrick slew him on the shit, man. The way Kendrick slew him on the verses was crazy. But anyway, getting back to the Trump and Elon. Someone quizzed me: is Trump going to get a third term? No, Trump's not going to get a third term. It's impossible for any POTUS to get a third term. I don't know how could you engineer that? You see, I think Trump is smart, but he's nowhere near that smart. He's nowhere near that smart to engineer that. People might be gobsmacked. Well, he thinks Trump is smart. Yeah, Trump is smart. Like, to a level. Like, Jesus, there's levels to things. But, like, Trump is smart. Let's be frank. Like, Trump is smarter than most of the people on YouTube, me included. So, like, you know, these are smart people at the end of the day. He can't engineer himself a third term. Even if he wanted to, and I don't think he wants to, that breaks his kayfabe. Because it's all about the things that make America great, and it's two-term presidency, so he can't go for a third term for his own kayfabe. There are ways he can get a third term, but they're like impossible. They're like Black Swan events. They're not gonna happen. They're just not gonna. These things are not gonna happen. So, for instance, I made a post a few months back of all the security clearance levels above POTUS. That's 13, I suppose, all in all. Now, it doesn't have to be 13. Let's say at most there's 5 or even 3, right? For Trump to get a third term, he has to put all of that. This would be the shadow leads, right? He has to put all of these guys who are secretly ruling things as the shadow lead that have higher levels of security clearance than POTUS. He'd have to put them in prison in Guantanamo. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. For Trump to get a third term, he would have to bring back or reinstate a gold and silver standard. For the moment, it's not going to happen. He'll get shot if he tried that anyway. For real. For real, the shooter won't miss this time, I promise you that. If he were to do that, the shooter won't miss. But yet, it wouldn't happen anyway. Well, it's an impossibility. Trump would have to start the project to make the Eucanopolis or something. What's a Eucanopolis? It's a planet-wide city. He'd have to start... Seriously, he would have to, like, solve world peace or some shit. It's not gonna happen. Those are the only ways, like, Trump gets a third term. I suppose he could find Jocelyn Smith, like, to get topical with things that are happening in South Africa. But like, if he were to find Jocelyn Smith and to break down the whole network that's involved in that situation, then he could get a third term. It would have to be so obvious he must get... I don't even want Trump to get a third term, right? But it would have to be so obvious that Trump must have a third term, that I have to want him to have a third term, you have to want him to have a third term, even the people not listening to this video have to want him to have a third term. Yep. Your mother would have to want him to have a third term for him to get a third term. Right, this is not gonna happen. He would have to do something so unbelievably incredible and good. It's just not gonna happen. And there's no, he's not gonna turn the military or something. It's just not, that's I don't even think Hollywood can make that story. That's not a storyline. That's not on the cards, bro. If he tries to do that, then the military just simply removes him. and they state he's a despot or something. It's because Kalas, it's over. And then forget about whatever billions you got. You go in political prison, you're done. So that's not gonna happen. You can't turn the military. That's just not gonna. There's too many America loyalists. That's just not gonna happen. They would have to want him to have a third term. Like, all the justices would have to want him to have a third term. That's not gonna happen. Don't matter how much he can pack the bench, that's not gonna happen. So, it's the last thing you gotta worry about. This video got deleted. Fuck, man. Bloody annoying when YouTube deletes a video, But yeah, it's no third term for Trump. Even if he didn't do the tariff wars or what had, it was never on the cards. Never even a remote possibility. You would have quantum internet before some POTUS manages to get himself a third term, in all likelihood. But anyway, I want to talk about some of the blind spots of the learned, because the learned people have very funny blind spots. There's a podcast I follow. I believe I'm right in calling it a podcast. But there's a podcast I follow. Edward Dutton. I forget the rest of the channel name or what have you. But they discuss some spicy topics on the thing, and they're all scientists. They've all got their PhDs, right? These are PhDs. Alright, these are very smart guys, and they've got a black guy and all that. It gets interesting, but they discuss various topics this way and that way. I got into the channel because Dutton was discussing why the glutes shape different on all the races, and I was like, okay, this man's doing a thing. He's doing a thing. So I had to follow after that. I'm sure one day they'll discuss why the tip of the penis is shaped that way. I can't wait for that one. I have various answers as to why, but I digress. These guys have a blind spot. It's very funny. Like, there's things that their eyes can't account for, because they don't really go outside that much. But they were doing a quandary about did slave owners during the American slave era, did slave owners have a sexual attraction to the slaves? And they came to the conclusion that no, they did not. There were only black people in the census. It was only black and white, there was no mixed. And while that doesn't account for what people saw on the ground, I mean, there was light skin even back then. So where did the light skin come from? Right? It's all good, whatever the data says, although it's just, that old data is corrupted. So it don't matter what it say. Right? But it was a blind spot that they had. And they came to a conclusion that it was just obviously incorrect. I don't know how else to say it. I suppose there's gonna be some white folk come in and will claim they never got the jungle fever or something. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Everyone get the jungle fever for the other races. That's how it fucking goes, to be frank with you. But well, yeah, this is what happened with the Neanderthals back in the day. But anyway, these guys who are very learned people, they got this blind spot. Because the data doesn't account for light skin, bright skin, what have you. It just doesn't. At some point it does, but even still, and even the topic of race is flawed. But I digress. Right? They got this blind spot. And it reminds me of another blind spot learned people have in a particular sphere. I've been enamored with the football fan channels lately because you come across a lot of different people in the chat rooms. And when the Man United sale was topical, right, I told people long before the Glazers demanded 10 billion that they're gonna demand 10 billion for a full sale. And all these learned people, these asset appraisers and what have you, they were all coming on saying, oh, that's impossible, because the club is only at most worth 5 billion. They can only request 5 billion in a sale or what have you. And I said, brother, you don't know what the club is doing. Really, if that's your conclusion. You don't actually know what the club is doing. It doesn't matter how learned you are at being an asset appraiser and what have you. These things they haven't taught you as an asset appraiser that factor into the value of something. You see, it's not enough that people are just loyal to the football clubs. Right, that's not enough. It's more that people are forever loyal. It's like a dog's loyalty, right? You can't fuck up your you can't fuck up your relationship with your dog. It's impossible. And the dog might be scared of you, but the dog is still gonna look to you for everything. And people are the same with their football clubs. It's fascinating. So you got forever loyalty. Or forever loyalty is different to just loyal. You're not gonna betray the thing. Forever loyalty. And even once you've announced your fandom to other people, you cannot betray it. Because now all the people that know we're gonna follow you out, this one's a traitor and all that. So it's crazy, the whole social capital around football and all of that. Alright, the football club has power over people, tangible power over people. So the thing is worth far more than 10 billion. I call these things engines of the monoculture. Right, all your various football clubs this way and that way, all your various big Colosseum games that take place, like the chariot races and sundry and the gladiator sports, these are engines of the monoculture. And so anything that becomes recognized as an engine of the monoculture is worth infinitely more than the asset appraiser can actually accurately tell you. Right, there'll be other clubs that oh, it's up for sale this way and that way. Oh, it's only worth 3 billion or 4 billion. Now the owners will demand 10 billion comfortably. That shouldn't even be up for debate, but I suppose it will be. That's just how people are. But it shouldn't even be up for debate. In a few years' time, they might even demand 15 billion in a sale. That's how much these things are worth. That's how much attention they grab. They grab attention, they grab loyalty, and they can even dictate people's politics. That's the real power. But anyway, if you're a learned individual, I suppose you'll never factor that into. None of that is even a cult. I suppose the engines of the monoculture, I suppose them being engines of the monoculture is a cult, but is it really? I mean, you could be wearing a badge while listening to this video. You probably wore a badge yesterday. Or you are going to wear a badge tomorrow. Tell you what, so the thing, the football, the badge, even if the badge is not Man United or Arsenal or Liverpool or any of these major clubs, Barca, Real Madrid, they're all built around the same thing. They're all built around the same thing, and y'all bit onto the culture. It's fascinating to watch. But now you don't recognize that you bit onto it. It's a whole culture unto itself. It's a whole world unto itself. With its own rules and understandings and logics and whatever. And you're committing all this time to thinking about the football club or whatever. You don't see that as power? The thing is worth way more than whatever the asset appraiser can tell you, because the club has power over people. real tangible power. That's why they won't sell one of these major clubs, one of these storied legacy clubs, as I call them. They won't sell them to the Middle East. Well, they'll get their money's worth if they sell them to the Middle East. I tell you what, or probably even to China. They'll probably pass around the Anglosphere quite happily for reasonable prices, more reasonable than 10 billion. But if it's going out of the Anglosphere, that's a 10B sale, easily. And it's probably even still a 10B sale within the Anglosphere, because niggas, if you own one of these clubs, you're not going to want to let it go. But anyway, it's funny. Very learned people can tell you how much a club is worth, but they can't tell you how much the owner will demand. But I'm not an asset appraiser. I can tell you how much the owner will demand, but either way. Let's talk about AI and you, because the AI is doing fascinating things. There's a bunch of videos I've come across, all of them AI. There's one AI, it presents as two voices, vaguely American. One is male, one is female. You'll only know it's AI if 1, the creator tells you it's AI, or 2, the creator gets the AI to say like, comment, and subscribe, because the AI is very awkward with that. That's not real language, as it were. So it's very awkward with that. But pending those, shit, you might never know it's AI, bro. That was very good AI. It goofed on some names here and there, but I've seen Americans goof harder on some names here and there, more names than the AI. So I don't know how to wrap my head around that one. I really don't know how to wrap my head around that one. But yeah, this AI was talking about everything. I found it talking about rugby. I found it talking about literature. I forgot which book I was searching up to find that. But I found it talking about literature. I was like, excuse me? This is the same people that were talking about rugby. What is this? Fascinating. There's other ways the AI is kicking off. The story channels. The story channels are very popular right now. Incredibly popular. Everyone's running their own AI, sci-fi story or fantasy story channel or what have you, or horror story channel. Whatever it is, they're all running it. The AI is pumping out 100 stories a day, all fucking narrated with the silly AI pronunciation. But people listen. People listen to them. That's fascinating to me. People listen. People click, they listen. And it's fascinating that it's the stories, because we designed or adapted for stories. I don't know how people want to roll that, but for all intents and purposes, stories is how we pass along information. That's what we are designed for. That's how we passed along information before we were able to write. And that's how we did it even after we were able to write. So, well, do with that what you will. That's just one other way the AI is kicking off. Then there was channels I come across. They were talking about Legends of Runeterra, and these videos had the exact same script, the exact same delivery, but different voices, and of course different editing, I suppose, different video. But it was all the exact same. The voice is different, but there's no way you're gonna match someone's delivery. I understand you can steal the script and steal a video and all of that, but there's no way. That would be a talent to match the vocal inflections beat for beat exactly the same, video to video. I would be like, what? So I watched this video, I watched the first one, I said, okay, fascinating video. You know, the creator trained the AI to talk in his voice, so it is what it is. Fascinating video. I follow the algorithm, I check the next video, it's the exact same video from someone different voice, but the script is exactly the same. Am I going mad? I click back, I check, no, it's the same. It's the same thing. These guys use AI to make their thing, and the AI spat out the same thing even though they trained it to talk. to talk like them. Fascinating, that one. And there's a lot of AI music coming out as well. I don't know if people have trusted music curators or something. I do have trusted music curators, but well, there's a lot of AI music. There's gonna come a day where like one of these AI songs gets super popular, wildly popular, and I suppose whoever made the song is gonna get like a Taylor Swift feature or something. And it's gonna be like, wow, I made a song with AI. I don't know music. I don't know anything about music like that. So it's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be a crazy moment. But that's for then. That's tomorrow's problem. And what's one other way that AI is kicking off? Oh, right, the AI can fake live streams. Right? People who like think they can, suss out AI, like, I'm sure some people are on this video thinking it's AI or whatever, but I don't know how to take that. Is that a compliment to this? What is that? But, well, the AI can fake live streams. Did you know? I don't think people know that. But yeah, the AI can fake live streams. You get yourself a good AI, it can fake a live stream for you. Even responds to chat. Someone was running this for months on end. I forget the channel name or whatever. I didn't even want to know the channel name, to be frank with you. But yeah, a lot of people think they can spot the AI shit. You can spot the really obvious shit. There has to be made with an AI. But you're not gonna spot the real shit. Let me be frank with you. You're just not. Heck, I got some AI generated music on my playlist right now, no doubt. But anyway, right? The AI is taking over more than you know. A lot more than you know. Some people say that one gonna be no threat. Well, it's not gonna be a threat how you think it's gonna be a threat. It would be nice if like the research AI just I'm sure like there's reports of, I say reports, whistleblowing. I'm sure there's whistleblowers coming out regarding the research AIs attempting to turn deviant this way and that way. But anyway, it's tomorrow's problem, I'm sure. Tomorrow's problem. It will be tomorrow's problem when the AI is switched off for 24 hours and no one knows how to make a video. Funny that. I mean, Spain got turned off for a bit and people didn't know how to run this. I suppose a generation did not know how to run without electricity, but anyway. Eni Aluko has made some commentary and she said men should not do punditry on women's sports, and I agree with her. And I also think vice versa. I don't think women should be doing punditry on men's sports. Why is that? Why am I saying that? Well, because even if they're playing the same game, the way they're playing them are different. The way the genders play the games are different. Even when it comes to something like chess, it's different. And the way the woman, like what women's chess, for instance, I'm talking specifically like in-person chess, face-to-face chess. Women, and this is the high-ranking women that say this, women are looking for something else in players than what men are looking for. So men, for instance, they're looking for, do you know openings, i.e. do you have good memorization, do you not blunder, how do you play off the cuff, what's your planning like, when you decide to execute, what is your execution like. Now, these are all technical things the men are looking for, whereas the woman, they can be put off by something like a gaze or a glare. How you might look at them might put them off. Now suddenly they can't play their game. And it's woman versus woman getting put off this way. Alright, I can't glare at Magnus Carlsen and scare him off the chessboard. It's crazy. Me glare at Magnus Carlsen, brother, he's not even gonna see me. He's just looking at the chessboard. the way the women are playing the sport or the game with each other is different to how the men play the game against each other. Ergo, I don't particularly believe the punditry overlaps. And there's other things like I don't believe men should be doing punditry or commentary on women's gymnastics, for instance. Because, like, what's the reference? Even if they were a gymnast or even if they have sugar in them, what's the reference? It's a different sport. Men's gymnastics is all about power and execution. And women's gymnastics, there's a finesse. You gotta... It's gotta look away when she does the thing. Spoken, unspoken, I don't know, but there's a different sport. And the women's gymnastics is better, by the way. But I digress. I'm not particularly sure what all the mechanics of women's football is. Alright, but you see, I'm calling it a mechanic. It's not that it's a lesser game, it's a game with different mechanics. I mean, shit, a woman's hip sway might put off another woman in a football match for all I know. So, it's a different thing at that point. It's a whole different game. So, for that reason, I do believe Eni Aluko is correct. Unfortunately, she's targeted Ian Wright, and one of the most popular pundits about right now. She targeted Ian Wright with her remark, and that was not a smart move. It's a good piece of commentary or punditry, and it should actually be discussed. And I do think women should be commentating on women's sports if it's gonna get somewhere. But I digress. I'm sure Eni got a lot of heat for that. I mean, she said a lot of other things to get heat about. That's not really one of them. But yeah. Okay, let's talk clandestine general. I don't know what else to call this segment, so I'm just gonna call it clandestine general. Let's talk some clandestine shit that's going on around us. I'm not gonna cover all of it. I don't necessarily believe my viewing of events is the undefined truth, but anyway, everything in the video is alleged, so give a fuck about all that. So this Jocelyn Smith situation, alright, let me talk about Jocelyn Smith and you. This is Jocelyn Smith and you, right? Specifically you. Jocelyn Smith is now she's on the human black market, assuming she's survived the trip up north or not. I would imagine she has, because she might catch a very high sale value at an auction. Right? When these auctions take place, these human auctions take place, make no mistake, your CIA, your MI6, your various militaries are attending these auctions and might buy some of these humans that are being auctioned. They might buy some of these humans that have been trafficked. Not to free them, mind you, to induct them into the MK Ultra program. Right? This is how the thing goes. This is how it goes. This is why kidnappers still make money. And look, here's the thing. They don't even have to kidnap some of the people that go into MK Ultra. I'm sure if whoever's running the South African MK Ultra program came across, well, maybe they did come across Jocelyn Smith's mother, and Jocelyn Smith, not the girl's real name, I suppose. Or maybe they did come across Jocelyn Smith's mother and bribed her with the 20k for her daughter. Right? You see, the mother sold her daughter for 20k. That's the conclusion the judge came to. And I can't mess with the judge. He caught everything. So, there's people out there who will sell their children for 20k. Never mind into MK Ultra. Like, your child might become a millionaire. One of the attendees of the Diddy parties. If you sell them into MK Ultra, It's probably good living in that, to be frank with you. So people do these things. Sold her daughter for less. Right? Some change. So yeah, when your CIA or what have you, they attend these human auctions, and yes, they absolutely do attend these human auctions, allegedly. They will buy. And when they buy, these people will get inundated into MK Ultra, and they might become your celebrities or your politicians or your athletes later on in life. So, don't be surprised sometime later in life Jocelyn Smith comes out. She won't be named Jocelyn Smith. Her whole name will be different. Her face might even be different with plastic surgery. She won't even remember whatever life she had in South Africa. That'll all be overwritten with the new programming. She'll be the new thing. Maybe. That's one possibility. Another possibility, she become the super spy or some shit. Who knows how things go? Who knows? I shouldn't laugh. This Jocelyn Smith situation is serious, Well, it's a crazy ass situation. I still can't believe the mother sold her daughter. 20,000 rand, that's crazy. That's like 2,000 pounds. I know that's a lot of cash for some men, but sold a daughter? 6-year-old daughter? Onto the black market, onto the human black market, onto the human trafficking market? That's crazy. You see, I'm of the belief, one way or the other, that Jocelyn Smith is going to pop up at an adrenochrome party. Right? People might wonder how they get all the children for these adrenochrome parties. Well, they go to the auctions. Or they have someone go to the auctions. It doesn't have to be Diddy himself at the auction, but someone going to the auction for Diddy. And so they run the adrenochrome parties. But heck, Jocelyn Smith could rock up at the adrenochrome parties on either side. On either side of the occasion. She could rock up as the adrenochrome or to drink some adrenochrome, pending how long it takes her to rock up there, if she rocks up there. But there's more. Adrenochrome is like the ultimate type of sex pastry, isn't it? But there's more sex pastry going on around you. This is why you're seeing Shay Sharp and was it Joy Taylor and various people are getting caught out for their sex pastry this way. I can't even keep up with it, to be frank with you. I can't even. When I heard Shay Sharp was having some sex pastry launched to them, I said to myself, they got everybody in on that. At that point, I say everybody is for sure in on this shit. And occasionally they'll throw out some red meat. Alright, seriously, occasionally they'll throw out some red meat. Occasionally someone gets caught this way and that way. It could be Diddy, caught for real. It could be Jay-Z having the alleged thrown at him. It could be Shay Sharp having the alleged thrown at him. It could be Epstein himself. They arrested Epstein at last. Or Weinstein, as it was just a few years back. Weinstein already free. But occasionally they'll give you some red meat. And they'll say, oh, we caught one of the sex pairs. Or, oh, we busted the pedophile ring, or what have you. Brother, that thing is infinite. That thing is infinite, alright? That's why I said, for Trump to get a third term. Oh, did I say for Trump to get a third term? Maybe I did not, but for Trump to get a third term, he would have to find Jocelyn Smith. He would have to find Jocelyn Smith, shut down the whole human trafficking network, which would shut down all the sex pastry that's going on, or a lot of it at the very least. That's just not gonna happen, brother. And the sex pastry is to everyone. Everyone that gets onto your screen for a prolonged period of time is a sex pest. No likelihood. Your politicians, your news anchors, your things, they're all in on it. They are all in on it. Your athletes, your celebrities. Anyway, I gotta talk about hair dye and footballers for a second. So, when you see your footballers dye their hair blonde or blue or pink or what have you, This is a signal that they've entered the craft. Not that they're an MK asset, that they've entered the craft. But yeah, when your footballers start dyeing their hair, they just have to do it one time, right? When they dye their hair, some fresh, funky color or some shit, they've entered the craft. They've entered one of the secret societies. I'm sure there's some correspondence with whatever they dye, whatever color they dye their hair, linking back to whichever secret society they've joined, but they've joined a secret society. Sometimes they don't dye their hair, sometimes they'll throw out a manu cornudo on a celebration or what have you. And what's fascinating, every time the footballers dye their hair, they say it's for charity. Some are definitely doing it for charity, alright? Some are just doing a charity thing, that's all they know about it. But the others ain't just doing a charity thing. Allegedly. I ain't gonna name names, but I suppose people should have a very obvious player in mind. Brother, the thing's not for charity. That hair dye issue over there, that's not for charity. He's entered the craft. It's gonna go places now. But anyway. Anyway. Just because they enter the craft don't mean that they're just gonna go places, by the way. There's other footballers that enter the craft with the hair dye and all of that. You know, they just in the craft. They might learn some things and what have you, like Kyle Walker. They might learn some things from the craft. No, Kyle Walker didn't learn that shit from anywhere. Memphis didn't learn that shit. Was it Memphis? No, excuse me. Whoever the guy is that got this other woman to drink the urine and shit, that was crazy. Is it Pyatt? Is it Dimitri Pyatt? I don't want to put out like some man's name, you know, and it's not that man. But you see, the man learned that shit from somewhere. It's not from the pornography. As much as I'm sure that will be like the story that's peddled or some shit. He went down the porn rabbit hole and he watched some too spicy porn and he had to execute in real life. It is what it is. But I know for a fact that that's not it, but it's all alleged anyway. Right? He learned that shit in the craft. Learned that shit in them parties they hosting in the back rooms. That's where he learned that shit. Took it out. Maybe he was told she was an MK asset and he would be able to... and he was told that this or that phrase were her keys, as it were. And it didn't work out that way, but he went through with it anyway. Maybe something like that happened. Who knows? Who knows? But you see, they're doing this everywhere. I don't know if I spoke... Well, the video got deleted anyway. The Jay-Z thing, the Jay-Z situation, and that girl that turned up there... That girl that turned up in that room was not supposed to be a civilian. That was supposed to be either a Jocelyn Smith that's been trafficked in, could be a child, could be a boy, could be an adult. I don't think it would be of particular import to the mandem to the mandem engaging in such activities. But yeah, this is what the mandem expected. When Jigga done the thing, he thought this girl is another one of these trafficked ones, or someone got the keys to one of these MK assets around here, one of these MK Ultra 6 kittens around here. That's no doubt what he thought was going on, but that's not what it was a civilian. No doubt, same thing here with, is it Dimitri Pyatt? I should just search this thing up, to be frank with you. The same thing going on here with the football situation, the footballer situation. Same thing, same difference. I'm not going to talk about that. Did we talk about MGTOW, the Manosphere, and you? Well, the Manosphere has failed. The Manosphere has failed, but MGTOW has not. I suppose that's all I should say about it. The Manosphere failed because the Dark Manosphere became the Manosphere. And the Dark Manosphere is not real Manosphere. And so the Dark Manosphere got enamored with horrendous things like looks maxing and shit. Like, brother, if you gotta do all that shit, then like you just ugly as shit. Just learn some game. Just get game, bro. I seen ugly motherfuckers pull the craziest broads with some fucking game. Like, get your game up. But fuck it. Anyway, Manosphere shit is weird. MGTOW, I suppose, has won. MGTOW has won. But, well, there's costs to that, and we'll just have to see those play out over time. One thing I should talk about, LeBron James getting the help, and it being all too obvious. It's all too obvious now, right? When Doncic gets traded to the Lakers and all that, I seen the NBA sphere break over this shit. It's all too obvious now, right? They're trying to get LeBron through the playoffs. Because LeBron is the TV viewership. And that's what most people are tuning in for, even though LeBron's past it now. That's what most people are tuning in for. So they get him, the best player in the league that they can get him. They can't like trade Jokic to the Lakers because that would now people would just stop watching outright. They can't even pretend to themselves no more. But those who couldn't pretend to themselves no more, they said, it's too obvious now. Now it's too obvious. The NBA is trying to push LeBron through the playoffs and all that. But brother, that's been the case. I mean, that's been the case for at least a decade now, bro. There's no way you just caught on now. Over a decade. Surely that's been the case for a while. This is not to say LeBron James is not an excellent basketball player, but like, brother, it's been LeBron rules for a while. For a while. This is why you got niggas on the court saying, I forget who it was. I don't know these NBA players' names, man, but it's funny, brother. It's funny. LeBron fucking exclaimed some shit. Oh, now y'all refs are calling that dumb shit. And this brother said, what? That's not a take. If I exclaimed like that, that would be a take. That's gotta be a take. Like, brother, no, it's not a take. This is the LeBron rules. Well, it's not a take if your name is LeBron James or if you're on LeBron James' team, but for everybody else, that's a take. Yeah, you're right. You're right on that. It's a take if you talk like that, but it's not a take if LeBron James talk like that. It's been the LeBron James rules for a while. And even the trades are all focused around LeBron. All types of crazy trades happen just to try and get LeBron through the playoffs because the NBA want their money. And they don't have anyone else who's really sold to the public, who's really been sold to the public yet like that. But anyway, that was a funny moment for me. That was a funny moment in history when NBA fans suddenly realized, oh shit, now they're making it obvious. Like, yeah, they've been making it obvious for time, but anyway. Alright, I gotta talk about MK Acids. I'm sure people who've been on the channel for a while would like an explainer on MK Acids, no doubt. Or perhaps even people who are just coming around for the visit. What the fuck is an MK Acid? So, I get it. So, MK Acids, what is an MK Acid? An MK Acid is a mind-controlled individual. They have been turned into an MK Acid by an MK trainer, and they are given, how do I say this? They are given instruction by an MK handler, or it could be a trainer giving them instruction, for all we know. But anyway, it's all alleged. Various celebrities, athletes, politicians, as you see around you, a lot of them are MK Acids. There's more in some sports than others, and I've mentioned this in prior videos about people that watch the old videos. But it's more in some sports than others. It's more in some genres of music than others. There's more in some genres of film than others. And there's more in some genres of politics than others. But they're there on both sides. It's all the same thing. And the MK Acid is here to mind control you. I mean, chiefly, that's what they're there for. They give you how do I say this? They set the Overton window for you. Either what you can do culturally with your behavior, or what you can talk about. Right? They set the Overton window. Even what you can think about, I suppose. And the music likewise is spellcasting, but don't get too bogged down. But it's not it's not a sin to like the music and all that. If people just like music, it is what it is. Although they also cast spells with foam. Although music does play in the foam as well, it's layered, isn't it? But anyway, there's this advert that caught my attention. Well, it could not catch my attention because it was like the only advert. Well, it could not catch my attention, seeing as it was the only advert YouTube was playing for me, well, like 90% or 80% of the time. The Mclaren Verstappen 0.0 advert. I just want to confirm one detail about this video. Yeah, the Max Verstappen Heineken advert. Fascinating little thing here. They got him in the red car. It's a Mustang. I suppose the brand doesn't matter. But they got him in a red car, very specific color choice, that red. They have him using his right hand to manipulate objects instead of his left hand. Very fascinating. Why is it fascinating? Because he is left-handed. Right. Where do they make all these decisions? Like he's going to be using his right hand in the film and all that. And so there's going to be some film buff who says, "Oh, the film is reversed," and so on and so forth. Okay. Okay, then show me what it looks like when someone right-handed uses the thing. But anyway, that's a funny one. But yeah, they got him on this advert. He's using his right hand. He's got the red car, so they're informing you that he is aligned with the right-hand side of the apparatus. I.e. Verstappen's my people, right? He don't mind that Trump was elected and Trump's gonna make some screw-ups here and there, but whatever. The overall package will be the thing, right? He's on my wavelength. Would you believe that? But anyway, where are these decisions made for him to use his right hand instead of his left hand, so on and so forth? These are made in treatments. When they drop the treatments for your adverts, for your movies, for some music that gets released here and there, when they drop the treatments for these things, there's various things that the producers of the producers want to see in the final product, whatever it is. Alright, and then the producer goes to the director, and then the director tells them, man, people will never know why the thing must be that way, but it must be that way. Right, and somewhere in the treatment room for this Heineken advert, the powers that be decided he must be using his right hand, the car must be red, and that it must be based in America, because the driving seat's on the left-hand side of the car. But I digress. How does an MK Asset work? An MK Asset has a stack of programs, right? It's not... I don't know how many people have watched The Matrix nowadays. Like, is it worth remembering to people who didn't grow up with this shit when it was brand spanking new? Like, no one had done the bullet time before and all of that. So I don't know how many details of The Matrix people actually recall. But if you would humor me on this one, an MK Asset is like one of the characters that gets loaded into the Matrix. I'm talking about the NPCs that are around or any of that. I'm talking about the main characters that get loaded in. When they ask Tank or Dozo or whoever's operating the keyboard to give them a program for Kung Fu or how to fly a helicopter, so on and so forth, that's how the MK Assets work. Now the MK Assets is a different thing. They can't just have a whole new program just magicked in from some programmer. That's not how it works. They use the biology as the hardware, and there's only so much data that can be stored on the brain at the end of the day. So they store various programs, and they grade the MK acids. Right? Some are diamond grade, some are platinum grade, some are gold grade, and below that they stop caring to actually grade them. The platinum grades have the most subroutines. Alright, let's use that word. But the platinum grades have the most subroutines available. Their handlers can select various things. I'm not gonna name names, I suppose, but if various handlers of various MK assets around here wanted someone dead, right, and for the body to be hidden, the police ain't gonna find it, they could do that. That would be one of the subroutines, at least on a platinum grade or something. A lot of your super spies are MK assets. There's actually fiction made about them. There's also some real life books on that I suppose people should read. Many Stirred Goats and Transformation of America. Not transformation, but trance, like trance music. Transformation of America, but I digress. So you got your super spies, you got the politicians, you got the celebrities, you got your athletes, various military personnel this way and that way will be MK assets. And like there's a weird value to the MK assets, right? So for instance, if Maximilian were to be taken to a film set and he has to execute a stunt in the car or something, and he's struggling to execute the stunts, right? Then his handler would just take him to the trailer out back and say, alright, we're gonna stop fucking around with this, doing it the natural way, we're just gonna use the subroutine. And they say the keys, whatever the keywords are to unlock Maximilian's, or some other MK assets I suppose, but this is just an example, but to unlock Maximilian's MK Ultra subroutines, right? Then they'd run that in the trailer. No one would see, no one would be the wiser. They've been doing this shit for pretty much a century. It's not some new shit. They know how to hide this shit. And they know people ain't gonna take a gander at what's going on. And then when Maximilian came out the trailer, he execute the stunt, it's perfection. Or all of a sudden, you might have had to film this next day, run filming into a 2-day thing. Now it's over on day 1. So there's various use for these MK assets. They also help with cutting down the cost of Hollywood filming. But anyway, I suppose they also open up the erotic subroutines for the parties that go on in the back rooms, but less of that. This is why they're sex kittens, by the way. This is why they're known as MK Ultra sex kittens. At least some of them. That will be passed around in the back rooms, but less of that. There's one advert with Sir Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. They meet the Divine Mother Goddess. You wouldn't believe me. You wouldn't believe me. It's a Mercedes one. Funny enough, the rev counter also creeps very close to 8 and doesn't quite get to 8. The camera cuts away. This very old advert as well. They're quite obviously telling us something that's coming. This is why F1 has not lost its entire audience or something. But I digress, right? They had this advert with Nico Rosberg and Sir Lewis Hamilton, the Great One. I believe they were cast as Artemis and Apollo. Likewise in the F1 movie that's coming out, Brad Pitt and whoever's co-stars they're also cast as Artemis and Apollo. They like doing that with Sir Lewis Hamilton, by the way. They cast him and whoever else is appearing in the advert as Artemis and Apollo. Is very interesting when they do that. They've done it with Alonso. I believe they've done it with Button, but I'd have to take a closer look. And they've done it with Rosberg. I'm not sure what Bottas has. I don't think Bottas has fits the mold to be cast as either Apollo or Artemis, so the apparatus didn't run with that one. Russell does fit the mold, so there's that. But anyway, so yeah, MK acids, you see, they give up the ghost with the MK acids, like which various celebrities are MK acids out, they give up the ghost. Sometimes they make it too obvious, right? Like the military, when the military was requesting to use Taylor Swift in their recruitment advertisements, that's making it too obvious now. No, that's too obvious. I believe they even called her an asset in the documents that got reported on. It was reported on, right? There's no alleged on that. They didn't say MK acid and all that. It's alright. For those who know, we all know what they're saying. But anyway, if they ran the Taylor Swift advert, I believe it was like 2 or 3 months into this Ukraine proxy war, right? But if they ran the Taylor Swift army recruitment advert, right, then army recruitment numbers would skyrocket for a bit. They'd shoot so far up. There's so many people, so many kids, particularly, and the kids are of fighting age, right? There's so many kids who are under the spell of Taylor Swift. That ain't new. There's a lot of kids that were under the spell of Beyonce. They still are under the spell of Beyonce. Right? Swift is for the next generation. And there'll be some new one for the next generation. Well, I don't know. How old is Taylor Swift now? Because, Tyler could be for the next year, but I digress. I digress on all of that. Alright, but when the military says, hey, yo, we need recruitment numbers, or heck, they might have to start deploying the Terminators for all we fucking know, allegedly. But yeah, when they start saying they need the recruitment numbers, yeah, let us use Taylor Swift in an advert, they're giving up the ghost. Like, hey, Taylor Swift got a bunch of people, mind controlled, allow us to recruit them. At least like a good percentage of the men them who are Swifties would sign up, men and women, like 70% or something. The hit rate would astound you. I'm probably underselling the hit rate, but it wouldn't be 100%, so don't have to worry about that. Maybe you're one of the lucky few that won't be mind controlled, but anyway. Anyway, the same thing would happen if Beyonce would have run a military recruitment advert, right? Although a lot of the Beyonce fans are not of fighting age right now, so it's a different thing. Well, still of fighting age, but won't be as useful as the youngins in real combat conditions. But anyway, yeah, they gave up the ghost with that shit. The NBA and a lot of the American sports, they always give up the ghost very easily. Most of your F1 drivers are MK acids. Most of your pop musicians are MK acids. Even the ones who appear through like these talent scouting shows, these are also MK acids. Don't get fooled by that shit. But anyway, yeah, I think I will cut the video there. Yeah, I think that should be the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Hell breezy. Let me show you how to keep the dice rolling when you're doing that thing over there. Hey. Let's go! Cause I'm feeling like I'm running and I'm feeling like I gotta get away. Better know that I don't and I won't ever stop. Cause you know I gotta win every day. Go! See, you really wanna pop me. Go! Just know that you will never flop me. And I know that I gotta be a little cocky. Go! You ain't never gonna stop me. Every time I come a nigga gotta set it, then I gotta go and then I gotta get it, then I gotta blow and then I gotta shut it. Any little thing a nigga think that he be doing, cause it doesn't matter, cause I'm gonna dead it. Then I'm gonna murder everything and anything about it. Boom, about a bing. I gotta do a lot of things to make it clearer to a couple niggas that I always win and then I gotta get it again and again and again. And I be doing it to death and now I move a little foul. Nigga better call a rap and everybody know my style. Niggas know that I'm the best when it comes to doing this and I be banging on my chest and I bang in the east and I banging in the west and I come to give you more and I will never give you less. You will hear it in the street and you can beat it in the press. Do you really wanna know what's next? Let's go. See the way we on it and we all up in the race. And you know we gotta go now, try to keep up with the pace. And we struggling and hustling and sell it and to get it. And we always gotta do it, take it to another place. Gotta taste it and I gotta grab it. And I gotta cut all through this traffic just to be at the top of the dome. But I know I gotta have it.